So The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out this weekend, and I totally didn't go see it. I wasn't avoiding it or anything like that, it's just sort of something that fell through the cracks. I also missed Star Wars Day on May the 4th, but that's because if I'm going to celebrate Star Wars in May, I'm going to do it on May 25th, the movie's actual anniversary. Also, I f***ing hate puns. Back to Spider-Man for a second. It seems like I didn't really miss much with this movie, though. The film has been getting some very mediocre reviews. It currently has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. By comparison, Spider-Man 3 has a 63% rating. That means more people would rather see emo-haired Peter Parker than Edward Cullen-haired Peter Parker. Can you blame them? The few positive comments I have seen are that the cast is good, particularly Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, and that the special effects are good, which pretty much were the same two compliments of the first movie. All the negative comments seem to stem from everything else. The storyline is a mess and all over the place. Characters are either overutilized or underutilized. There's apparently a dubstep song that haunts Electro in this movie. The subplot with Peter Parker's parents winds up being no big deal, which just goes to show you they should have just gone with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. angle. And while I can't confirm this happened because, again, I haven't seen it, I've seen reports on the internet that a certain scene that I've been hinting at on this show for the last couple of months is in this film, and it's not handled very well. Now, I still plan on seeing this movie because I like to go see comic book movies. It's kind of my thing. Also, I want this genre to flourish. And if that means I have to endure both Ghost Rider movies, then damn it, I'll endure it. Now, Bob has seen this movie, and according to him, the only worthwhile part is the last 30 minutes of the movie. So if you want to hear more about his opinions on it, check out the Hoverboard podcast. Yeah, we're branching out, folks. Now, it seems like a lot of people may be bummed out by this movie and want to know where to turn for good Spider-Man. That isn't the comics. And yeah, Bob and I did a video about why Spider-Man sucks, but we only did that because we love Spider-Man. I really love Spider-Man. And I'm going to tell you where you can get some good Spider-Man. Now, I'm not going to recommend the Sam Raimi movies because I think at this point it's all pretty much assumed that we all agree they're the better films. Even 3, apparently. Instead, let's look at the small screen. Let's talk about TV. Specifically, let's talk about The Spectacular Spider-Man. Starting in March of 2008, The Spectacular Spider-Man was a show that told the story of Peter Parker in his high school days. It only lasted for about 2 seasons because the TV rights to Spider-Man were owned by Sony and then reverted back to Marvel. Instead of continuing the show, which would have required buying the specific rights to this specific show from Sony, Disney decided to launch a brand new show called Ultimate Spider-Man. And while Ultimate Spider-Man is a kiddie-focused, cameo-laden, juvenile piece of crap, Spectacular Spider-Man is probably the definitive version of the character outside of the comics. It took what was great about the original comics and the early Ultimate Spider-Man comics, oddly enough, and meshed them together in a way that was fresh and unique and modern, and offered an iconic, definitive look at Spider-Man. Even characters that were changed or altered still felt like the characters we all know. Gwen Stacy started out the show as a shy wallflower before she turned into the bombshell we all know and love. The series never spoke down to its audience. It had to make a lot of concessions because it's a kid's show, obviously, they have to. But the writers did everything they could to not neuter their work, and work around and within the confines of children's television to tell great stories. The result is something akin to Bruce Timm's Batman, Superman, or Justice League shows. These are shows that spoke directly to the older, more established fan base, but were directed towards children because they, quote, had to be. And what you get is the perfect balance between bright and colorful stories to entertain the youngins and deep emotional storylines that'll entertain the old folks. Now, some of you people watching this are probably around my age, and you may be wondering why I'm not mentioning the 1994 Spider-Man cartoon. Now, myself, along with a lot of my friends, we have fond memories of this cartoon. Every time I watch The Little Mermaid, whenever Prince Eric talks, all I hear is Spider-Man. Oh, you didn't know they were the same voice actor? Because they totally are. But have you tried watching this show recently? It doesn't hold up in the slightest. First of all, it was censored beyond belief. Nobody carried actual firearms, they all carried weird futuristic laser guns, and Spider-Man wasn't even allowed to hit anybody. Also, the animation is bad, like really, really bad. Frames get reused over and over again. It has some really odd CGI sequences for the web slinging. People talk about how bad the MTV Spider-Man series looked, and yeah, it wasn't great, but it still looked a lot better than what the 94 cartoon looked like. Also, that show was awesome. If you didn't like that show because of the way it looked, then I don't like you for the way you look. That was really mean. Wow. The 94 show is still enjoyable, but not in a it's still good kind of way like Batman the Animated Series. More of a kitschy, nostalgic, so bad it's good kind of way. If you don't believe me, that show's streaming on Netflix right now. Go take a look. Spectacular Spider-Man, on the other hand, does still hold up after all this time and after repeated viewings. Definitely think you should check this one out. It's on iTunes and Xbox Live and places like that. It's not streaming on Amazon Prime or Netflix right now, but that could change sometime in the future. The complete Blu-ray set is also available. I got this on Amazon for $25, and at the time of this recording, it's still $25. So if you want a physical copy, there you go. If you were disappointed with Amazing Spider-Man 2 and you need some good Spider-Man in your life, or if you liked Amazing Spider-Man 2 and you want some more Spider-Man in your life, this is the series to get. It's only 26 episodes, so you'll be done in less than a weekend. Now, I do have to warn you, the series does end on sort of a cliffhanger because, again, those rights issues. Don't let that ruin your experience, though. Go watch this series and then hit me up on Facebook and Twitter thanking me for recommending such a good cartoon. Also, don't forget to leave a comment below. It doesn't have to be about Spider-Man, but if it is, what's your favorite Spider-Man cartoon? And who do you think is the definitive voice actor for Spider-Man? And it's Josh Keaton, this guy. And as always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. So I had something completely different planned for today's episode. I was all ready to talk about one specific thing, then all of a sudden, Comixology came along and blew up my Twitter feed. So here we are talking about that.
It's like when you take your Spider-Man action figures and you play with your G.I. Joe action figures. What?
But even that was like...
cross universes?